So before we start this video, just want to give a big shout out to Tesla for doing something that no other car manufacturer can do, and that's helping people evacuate a hurricane area. So before the hurricane actually hit in Florida, what they did is they unlocked all their 60 kilowatt batteries to 75s over the air for free to make sure everyone had the biggest battery capacity possible to be able to evacuate. And that just shows like how much they really do care. They didn't release a press release about it. They didn't do anything about it. So they obviously weren't in it for the attention. They just wanted to make sure that people would be as safe as possible. So huge props to you guys. There are still some superchargers that are down in the area. So definitely check out your car maps if you are traveling down there. I think Marathon is still out, and a couple others are gonna need some tweaking and a little bit of fixing up before they are usable. So definitely just keep an eye out on that if you are in the area and traveling. Okay, today's video now. Woohoo! New Tesla Superchargers. So this kind of plays off my video from yesterday. It seems to be happening a lot lately. Like I'll do a video and then like a next day or two, Tesla will release something new that kind of adds to it. They have announced city charging, which will be city supercharging, which will be for more of the city goers. I think it's going to be used for a lot of people that have like apartments. Maybe they don't have a place where they can readily charge. Anyone can use it though, so that's great. They did say they will be placed in urban areas with like shopping centers, grocery stores, stuff like that. Somewhere where you will actually be a little while, so you can go ahead and plug in, charge your car while you shop or whatever you're doing, and then come back to it. And it is not run as a typical supercharger. That is, I think, the biggest news here. Obviously, we have the new look. So here we have the old design, here we have the new one. Definitely looks a little bit more sleek and obviously a lot smaller, and they did this on purpose. That way they can pack them in a little bit higher density. They're easier to install. Altogether, it should be definitely a perk. I mean, I would love to see a parking garage full of these. So currently there are 2 stations that just opened. One is in Chicago, one is in Boston. Chicago has 10 stalls and it's located at this address. Boston has 8 stalls and is located at this address. So feel free to type that into your GPS if you want to check them out. But on the downside, they are pay to park areas. So Chicago at least has a special deal where the first 45 minutes in the parking garage is $5. Otherwise, it is $20 for an hour. That's kind of pricey. Boston has a couple different rates, so this is where it can get a little tricky. If you do shop at any of the stores, restaurants, etc., except for like 2, I think, you do get a discounted rate if you spend anything over $10, but that discounted rate is still a minimum of $14 for 4 hours. Whereas their normal rates are $12 an hour, and then as you add increments, it gets a little bit cheaper, but it's still the cheapest is gonna be for Boston is $12. So I don't know if Tesla's planning on working something out in the future, because that is kind of a bummer. Although in Colorado we do have a supercharger down in Colorado Springs. It is in a parking garage, and during the week it is free for 1 hour if you are just charging. However, on a weekend or something, normally when I visit, you do have to pay. It's only $1, so it's really not that bad, at least not as like Boston or Chicago. Kind of a bummer. But it is a supercharger, which I use frequently, so it is not the end of the world for me. If I did have to spend like 14 or 12 bucks or 20 bucks just to park somewhere, it would be kind of a bummer. So Tesla, if you're listening, is there anything that can be done with that? Maybe, please. Help. I appreciate the chargers though. So the big difference is these new superchargers are 72 kilowatts, whereas the old long distance superchargers are 145 kilowatts. However, the new one is not a shared supercharger, whereas the old ones, 2 cars do share the same 145 kilowatts. So if one car pulls in is almost empty, the first person to start charging is going to get the bulk of that. Whereas the second person is going to start off slow and just get the excess that first car's not taking. And as that first car starts to ramp down, the second car will start to ramp up. It's not terrible, but I definitely think these single car chargers are the way to go, in my opinion, because then you don't have to worry about it. You always know what you're gonna get, and there's really no second guessing it. But when they say they're 72 kilowatt chargers, the chances of you getting that full 72 is pretty slim. You're gonna have to be basically empty and have optimal charging conditions. Like the 145 kilowatt, for example, when I plug into it, which Model S's and X's are limited to 120 kilowatts, the max I've ever gotten is about 112 that I know for sure. I might have gotten 1 or 2 more kilowatts, but that's kind of like optimal conditions. And the more the battery fills, the kilowatts will start to go down because it doesn't want to overcharge the battery. And once it gets to that last 10, maybe 15%, it can take quite a while. So normally I like to just make it so that I always have a 10 to 15% buffer, and that way I only charge up on my road trips to like 90% because that's when you're going to get the fastest supercharging time. Now this new supercharger is supposed to run on these same supercharging tiers as the old or long range one, as we will call it. So you will still get 400 kilowatts, which is about 1,000 miles free. Not sure if that's how it is with the Model 3. The page does say all cars. I don't know, might be a little gray area for now, but I think Model 3s will get a little something. I guess we'll see. If you do use the referral code, link in the description, you do get free unlimited supercharging with any new or inventory. If you buy a CPO, unfortunately, you don't. Really, the 400 kilowatts is actually quite a bit. I actually was locked in on that with my 100D until they released it, and I probably would have had to pay maybe 20 bucks a year. It would have been really cheap. If you do 100,000 miles a year and you supercharge all the time, yeah, it would obviously be a little bit more expensive. So the paid supercharging rate does vary though, depending on your location. So they basically made it so they're not making money. This isn't a money-making venture for Tesla. This is something that they just want to be able to provide you with a way to adequately charge your car. So the rates we've seen so far range from about 8 cents to about 20 cents per kilowatt. And that does also vary depending on anything under 60 kilowatts is a tier 1, anything over 60 kilowatts is a tier 2 rating, so it also varies by price. Even with paid supercharging, you can drive from California to New York for right around probably $100. So it's really not that expensive considering gas for the same amount would probably be close to like 3, maybe 400. I haven't purchased gas in a while. I don't really know what it costs. Sorry. But yeah, in the Model 3 video that I did the other day, we talked about supercharger locations and charger locations, and actually this is going to expand rapidly. This here, all the ones in pink are the additional ones that they just added. So I went ahead and took the old supercharger map that had pretty much everything up to date and overlaid it with a new one that they just published, and then did a color difference scale. So there you can see anything in pink is going to be new, presumably going to be the new city urban chargers. Not 100% sure if some of those will be superchargers, but the great thing is it will allow and connect the west side and east side of Canada to each other, so you guys will be able to go in between, which will be awesome. And it goes a lot further down into Mexico, so actually I'll be able to drive down to Cancun. If I really wanted to, I probably wouldn't, but if I did, you could. And it just creates a lot more areas and fills in a lot of other little gaps. So yeah, definitely awesome news. I really can't wait to go ahead and try one of these out. Definitely like the video if you think I should fly out to Boston or Chicago, rent a Tesla, and try these out for myself. I'm really thinking about it, so definitely like it if you think I should. If you are looking for a Tesla, feel free to check out our website, teslainventory.com. We break everything down in a super easy to use manner, and actually just added locations back, so now you can search by that. Really help reduce any kind of delivery fee, which is definitely an awesome perk. And if you are looking for a new or inventory model, feel free to use our referral code at the top of the page. Doing so will save you $1,000 and get you free unlimited supercharging, so you can charge at all these locations for free. And that will also unlock certain reward prizes for us, so any help is certainly appreciated. Definitely thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it. Go ahead and click here to subscribe, here for some more videos, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.